Hello and welcome to things looking more crooked in my room than usual. I don't know if this is the way that I set up my camera today. I think it is because it all just looks super odd to me on my computer when I look at this, and I don't really know what to do about that. So we will just have to push through. Today we have a special episode of Hoya of the Week. Initially, when I started this series, I really did not want to cover any cultivars or crosses, but here we are. I decided that this is going to be the topic for today, so it's special because we are not covering just species, we are going to cover cultivars. And another thing, it's not Hoya of the Week, it's Hoyas. We have two plants today, and the reason why I decided to sort of join these two plants in one video is because they are frequently mentioned one next to another or one with another or together. That's the word that I'm looking for, together. And they're frequently confused as well. I have both of these plants, and from what I know, they are from verified sources and they look like they should look like. We are talking about Hoya Priktai and Hoya elephant. I will tell you what I know about these plants and how I came to these sources, so to speak. And I will tell you how I care for these plants, but I don't think I'm the best grower of these two plants. They have grown. Do they look the best? I don't think so. Do they sometimes annoy me? Absolutely yes. They both bloomed, and to me, there are a lot of similarities, but I will just tell you also what the differences are so you can decide which of these two plants you should get. Should you get both? And in general, just to learn something new, because that's what we do here, I think. Actually, mostly we complain. It's not that we learn, we complain. This is my Hoya Priktai, and she's actually looking better than I thought she would on the camera. She needs some dealing with. This trellis is not the most fortunate solution. And then we have my Hoya elephant in the front. And how do I turn this around? I'm always super confused about the camera. So these are the two plants. And there are clear differences with these plants, and sometimes you will see this being called Priktai as well, but this is definitely elephant and this is Priktai. Now, I will say one thing. Neither of these two, to my knowledge, are published nor registered cultivars. I will tell you how they came to their name, and I don't actually know if they are going to be published. Someone like Rachel Collette Conroy might know. Today we're not going to talk about registering cultivars. That is a whole different animal. We're just going to talk about these two. You can actually still see the buds on this one, but they just closed, but they have not fallen off. I tried to take them off before the shooting, but they decided to stay. So both arrived at the same time to me, and I got both of them through Betsy. I don't really know who her sources were for these two plants, but I'm going to tell you what I know about them. First of all, let's say that in the past I have been guilty of saying that these two plants come from the same seed pod. I don't remember where I first saw this, but I saw it somewhere on the internet, and I just took it as a fact, and I repeated several times in the video that these are sister plants, that they are from the same seed pod. I don't know that to be true, and when you hear the story that I learned about these two plants, I don't think anyone can ever say that. There is just no way to confirm this. I think the reason why this sort of started is because they do look very similar, especially when it comes to flower, so it is very feasible that they could be from the same seed pod. But because we cannot ever verify that, that is just not an okay information to pass on. Another thing with these plants is oftentimes you will have a location attached to them. I think, it's my personal belief, that the reason why people now attach location is because they have been confused. I see sometimes this sold as Priktai, and for that reason I believe that some people are selling this plant as Priktai Russia. It cannot be Priktai Russian clone, just like Wilbur Graves, China, Wilbur Graves, Russia. There can only be one Wilbur Graves, and I don't think that one is an established cultivar as well, but let's pretend that this is an established cultivar, that it has been published, and it has been given Priktai, the name Priktai, it has been described, etc. You cannot have Priktai Russia, Priktai Thailand, la la la. You cannot. You can just have only one cultivar. So I would like people to drop that, but I would also like people to drop Ted Green from the name Hoya meredithii. Or if you're going to write Hoya meredithii Ted Green, I would also then ask you to be consistent, and for every Hoya species that you ever talk about, write who published it. It's so simple, right? I'm sorry, for the 100th time I saw people writing Hoya meredithii Ted Green. Not 100, 1000th time. And people just don't want to drop this, and it annoys me every single time because you never see it with other Hoya species, so please. Anyway, Hoya Priktai, Hoya elephant, focus mirror, focus mirror. Both very beautiful plants, very decorative leaves. Now, what is the origin, you might ask? Well, when I saw on April Mall's website that these were named by an unknown Russian collector, I sort of had a guess who that collector might be, and I went directly to the source to sort of verify this, I don't know, gut feeling. Let's say that it was a gut feeling, and I was correct. I reached out to Larissa Kuzmina, and if you have been buying Hoyas in 2020, you know who Larissa and Margarita are. They are Russian collectors, sort of prominent in the Hoya community, and a lot of people, especially from the US, used to buy plants from them. My Hoya undulata comes from Larissa in 2020. It traveled for 40 days, and it was okay. It's the story that I will keep mentioning again and again. So I went to Larissa and asked her about the story, if she knows anything about these plants, and as I guessed, she does. I was correct. It was Larissa who named these plants, and not just these two. There are two other, and I don't actually think I know what they look like, but we will get to that. So how the story goes. Larissa was visiting Pacharavalai, or Ice Hoya. She was visiting their nursery, and they had a lot of seedlings. And she selected 4 of the seedlings that she really liked, that she found them looking attractive, right? And she was given the permission by Pacharavalai to name these 4 seedlings. So she chose to name one of them Priktai, which is this one, and she named it for Pacharavalai's eldest daughter. There is another one, and I believe that one is Yen Yen, that is named after Pacharavalai's dog. There is another one, Manov, or Mano, I don't really know how you pronounce that, but that one is named after Pacharavalai's youngest daughter, and then Elephant, which was named Elephant just for the big leaves. Then I asked Larissa if they have any more information about these Hoyas, about the parents, etc. And she told me that not even Pacharavalai knows that. So it is impossible to verify or to say that these two are sister plants. Just because flowers look similar does not mean they came from the same seed pod. And we can make a lot of guesses as to what these crosses are, but they are just not correct, and it would not be okay to spread misinformation that way. So I hope that sort of puts this story to rest about the history of these plants. I have no reason to doubt this story. I do believe it's true, but you know, I just know that information in any community, so in Hoya community as well, it kind of gets misinterpreted. And later on, I don't actually know by which means these got to AH Hoya. I know this one also carries the accession number AH027, and then they call it Elephant as well. And I don't know who started calling this Priktai, but you will definitely see a plant that looks exactly like this that is called Priktai. And the leaves are just very unique to Priktai, that I don't think anything, it can ever make leaves that look like this. They're just very, very different, very unique plants, I would say. So let's take a look at the leaves. Both of them have very hard leaves. I would say Priktai is a much better grower, both frustrating. I will have like a rant. By the way, before I continue, if you want a really good care video on Hoya Priktai, you cannot really expect that here. I'm still figuring out the best way to grow this plant. If you want that video, make sure to visit April Mall's channel, Unsolicited Plant Talks. Everyone knows April. I don't need to give April a shout out. It's like me giving a shout out to Beyonce, right? Have you heard of her? Where was I with that? She's going to make a video on Hoya Priktai because she says she has figured it out. I certainly haven't. I think this plant could look better. Betsy, for example, never struggled with hers and she grows it essentially the same that I do. But for me, she has been a... Let's choose any unflattering word. The leaves on Hoya Priktai are not more veiny than Hoya Elephant. I find them both very veiny, but none of them are pillowy. They can have waves at the edges, but none of them really look pillowy. They're really flat. Now, I would consider this a very characteristical leaf of Hoya Priktai if my dear camera would focus. So you can see what that looks like. It's a very typical Priktai leaf. This too. And then sometimes she is going to get wavier leaves. For example, something like that. You can just take a look at those. One of them is a bit sun bleached because she is in my southeast facing window currently, so this one here. A bit bleached, but you can clearly see what those leaves look like. They are sort of flat. Sometimes they come in a bit wavy, but I would say they are very distinguishable from the other plant that I'm going to show you. They can also get quite big. I would say not as big. But oftentimes, if you see this plant, like this is like a typical leaf that you can expect. And as we can see, my plant is a bit sun-stressed. These trellises are annoying me. So that's what Hoya Priktai looks like. Once again, very, very beautiful leaves. Absolutely needed. Would love her if she would grow a little bit better, but we are going to get into the rant. Hoya Elephant. Hoya Elephant, much slower, much trickier, much dustier as well. But you can see on Hoya Elephant, this is actually a good angle because the shadows fall nicely. You can see that she is not so flat, that it's like a pillowy leaf. That's the best way to describe them. And not a single one is flat. They all have like bumps. They are all very pillowy. Burnt by most likely coffee steam. Idiot, right? This one here also looks very nice. So you can see very pillowy. What I found to be sort of the issue with elephant is that sometimes, or very frequently actually, you're going to get leaves that are sort of deformed. They start to grow very weirdly like this one, and it's just how it's going to be. And oftentimes when they start to grow like this, so if you get like a deformed leaf like this, it will start to yellow here from the end, and then it will fall off. And it is relatively common. I don't know why this happens. We can talk about this in the comment section, but you can see the leaves are very pillowy, significantly larger, and as they grow bigger, they sort of curl underneath. I don't know how to explain this. It's like a cup shape. I don't know, cupped is the best way. You can see on these two newest leaves how they are very, very big, pillowy, and then on the back, you can see how that is cupped, right? I don't know, is that the best way to describe this? Most likely not. Look at this one. Very, very nice leaf. You can see very pillowy looking, very big, very different than Priktai, and then also that sort of cupped shape. I don't really know. Let me just turn it around like this. Maybe you will see a little bit better. Yeah, that sort of shows it, what that looks like. So very beautiful leaves, but when you put them side by side, it's very easy to distinguish them or to drop them. Which one of those two? Let's see. I want to get a good shot of this, but it's like the battle of the trellises. You can see the difference, right? in my opinion, especially in person, very easy to distinguish them. You know, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult on camera because it's just like different than real life. But you can see, oh, that's a good shot. Yum, yum, yum. Except for that burnt coffee leaf. But that's a good shot that displays the difference between these two plants. When they were growing in the same conditions, I know someone will say, oh, this is growing in the southeast, but yada, 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 whatever, I don't care. When they were growing in the same grow tent, exactly the same. This one is still in the grow tent, this one is not. There was just no significant change to what they look like right now. Sure, this one grew, actually I don't even know, did she grow in the window? I think not. I think she flowered in the window and maybe gave me one new vine, but actually this growth, all of this happened in the growth tent, also this one. So they were growing in the exact same conditions and they look very different. Well, not worlds apart, but you know, there is a difference. The flower on these two plants to me looks very similar. It is a nice flower and I would say that both of these are very easy to bloom. It's fragrant flower, it's not overly strong and it's in the terms of scent, grassy slash floral note. I don't really know. It's hard to describe Hoya flowers, but it's pleasant. And for now, it looks that it lasts a little bit longer on elephant than on Priktai. Priktai for me was in bloom for maybe a day and a half, too. This one stretched it to 3 days. But it could be because Priktai is flowering for the first time. This one bloomed several times already. Because this one is blooming for the first time, I don't think we can tell that this one lasts shorter. And unfortunately, because I had so many other things to do, I didn't get to photographing these on time. So when you see the flower on Hoya Priktai from my documentation, you will see that the flower is not reflexed. Both of them are reflexed. So the corolla will roll back all the way. So both of them have reflexed flower. It's just that towards the end, I sort of just wanted to take photo of Hoya Priktai. But I will take different photos when it blooms again. And then I will show you in a future video. Maybe we will need to make like a care video one day when she starts growing fabulously for me. And then I can tell you how to grow an amazing Hoya Priktai. Today is not that day. I don't think that this one is easier to bloom than Priktai. I just think my Priktai, for whatever reason, decided to be an evil plant. And it's not for everyone. Some people grow it with no issues, but some people have told me that they experience sort of similar problems that I do, which is leaves start to grow and then they drop. The baby leaves drop. And I don't really know why. Is it infrequent watering? I don't think it's mites. She's been treated many, many times for mites, but I don't really know. I think I'll treat her again. It's actually time for me to treat her, but you can see that not every of these nodes will have leaves on both sides. Sometimes it's only on one side. Sometimes she skips a node. Same with this one, but this one, it's just something weird happens. It makes a weird shape. If it grows a normal shape, it will be fine. It typically doesn't fall off. It stays on, but if it starts to grow a weird shape like this, I just find it almost in 100% of the cases they're gonna fall off. With this one, they all start growing normally, and then one day they just yellow and fall off. So I think it's probably a watering issue. Let's now talk about the growing conditions. So this one is growing in my window, this one is growing in my tent. I find that in lower light, as with all Hoyas, they make larger leaves. This one made these leaves in what I would consider low light, and normal people would probably consider regular light. The grow light was about this far away from it, and it was a 16-watt grow light, I believe. This one, again, she was on my shelf in my tent, and there was the big Mars Hydro grow light for it, but she was not that close to light. I find that she turns red in winter, so with cooler temperatures, she's going to turn red. She can also get a little bit of that blush in a lot of light, which a lot of Hoyas do, and we tend to call this sun stressing, but for me, the leaves on this plant look even more stunning, even more colored in winter. So that is what I have to say about that. Now, the pots are 12 centimeters with inches. That's about 5, I think, inches. Or, no, it's not 6, it's 5. And they are in self-watering pots. We do see the roots growing out. I will most likely move both of these to organic mix, so we'll have to say bye-bye to some of these, and I don't think all of these look great either. I tried to keep her more watered to see if the leaves are not going to fall off. I tried to keep her less watered. None of those helped. So now we're going to try an organic mix. With elephant, we do have some roots, but not a lot going out, but it's the same pot, and I think they are exactly the same age, or maybe several months apart, but you can see who did better. Do I recommend these babes? I do. Listen, no one is more frustrated, or maybe some people are, by Priktai than me, but I do like them. I do think they deserve a spot, if you have a spot in your collection, for cultivars and for big chunkers. I think it's shaping to be one of my favorite big-leaved Hoyas. I find them both impressive. This one for shape of the leaf, coloration. I always find these leaves fascinating, especially when they are a bit wavy, when they sort of have that uneven edge here, which doesn't really show all that well on camera. I find them really, really interesting. I love both of them dearly, and I struggle with them a bit, and it's a love-love-hate relationship. Typically, if this was any other plant, if I didn't like them, I would get rid of them by now. You know that for sure. I would cut them, you know that for sure. You know how merciless I can be when it comes to chopping Hoyas, but with these two, I don't know. I sort of give them benefit of the doubt, another chance, another chance, another chance. We'll see what this summer brings us with growing these two plants, but do let me know how you are doing with Hoya Priktai and Hoya Elephant. Let me know what your Priktai and Elephant look like. Do you have them maybe mislabeled? But I just think that there is no way these are mislabeled, because again, I saw Larissa's plants and that's exactly what they look like for Elephant and for Priktai. I hope that this clears up some things a bit. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, do let me know how you grow these two plants, how they have been for you. I think they're easy, just a bit frustrating. I would like if they were... I wouldn't slap them if they were people, but I would think about it every day, and I think about it every day even though they're plants, huh? Anyway, I will see you in the next episode of Hoya of the Week. Have a fun weekend. I shall probably seeing you on the weekend as well, because I can't just shut up. It's like Wednesday, Sunday, all the time. Just give us a break, Miro. Give us a break. I would like to take some time to thank all of my patrons for their incredible support. A massive shout out to my $5 patrons. My 2 anonymous patrons, Alex von Siebenthal, Amber Clear, and Margaret Munt, Angela Bernard, Angela Parrish, and C. Aspen Drake, Betsy, Brett Noble, Candy Taft, Catherine Molina, Christine Claire Cola, Daniela Danube Daniels, Daria Kaminska, Deborah Violet, Deli Heridia, Diane Sikorsky, Dipanjali Rao, Either W, Erin Keenan, Eleni Saxon, Ellen, M. Mortal, Farah, Gathering Moss, Gina Geise, Go Green Tropical, It's Kyle, Heather Uppingham, Hoji Scott, Hoya Heather, Yana Griffin, Jessica Chia, Jonas Barrior Flarson, Jovan Denot, Kara, Catherine P, Casey Gross, Callie Gallagher, Kelso, Kimberly Polka, Kiwi Mochi, Christy Ehrlich, Lisa Mary, MPLS, Lori J. Revert, Mandy Milliken, Marcel Har, Maria Stein, Marina Yarmolich, Mars B, Marty Miller, Mary Rose, Melissa Walker, Michael Curley, Michelle Heron, Nicole Ferranti, Mirka Grun Roos, Moa Edmond, Nelly Yang, Niha Basso, Nicole Maroney, Nanguin, Nita Macy, BJ Plan Truid, Rachel Peterson, Sandra Cornelius, Sherry Kumar, Sophia Rian, Stephanie H2O, Tessa Martins, Tia B, TJWO, Trista Bailey, Tristan Thomas, Wendy Rossman, Zenia Green, Youth of the Walamut, Zaira Rivera, Zordarama, and Zlakov Niponi. A big thank you to my $3 patrons: Angelina Farnan, Kilone Constance, Daryl De Rosario, Eden C, Catherine Parsons, Kent Brown, Elle Lindberg, Lindsay Ann, Mary H, Monica Wykers, Nella, Syke Zera, Renee Church, Ringlop Tang, Watanas Riakul, and Wendy Foreman.
And a thank you to my $1 patrons, one anonymous patron, Alice Borrelin, Brandon Pacheco, Christina Greengrass, Colleen Coyle Levi, Couture Helvetica, Emilia Bronson, Jamie Arsenault, Jolie Sullivan, Kayla Vavra, Kelly Ash, Chris Perez, Lauren M. Lori Ann Subramanian, Luzmin Fernandez, Neely Spicer, Nerdy Kathy, Olivia Chinmuller, Sarah, and Tracy the Eyebriller.